All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Errol Spence Jr. has confirmed that he has already sent the contract, and Crawford has already confirmed himself that he has gotten the contract. So, Errol Spence Jr. tells Terence Crawford, sign the contract. We over here ready to make this fight a go. So, I'm going to break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and also share the video to get all your latest boxing news. And remember to hit that bell icon to always stay notified as soon as I release the news. And shout out to all my new subscribers that subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel, and we're going to continue to grow and get this channel as big as we possibly can get. So let's get into this. Errol Spence Jr. has confirmed that he has already sent the contract over to Terence Crawford to make this fight happen. And now they're just waiting on Terence Crawford to read over the contract, agree to terms, whatever the case may be when it goes into negotiations. And since then, Errol Spence Jr. has been relentlessly calling out Terence Crawford. He has been relentlessly calling out Terence Crawford ever since he stopped Udenis Ugas and said on the mic that everybody, all the Crawford fans were saying, okay, is he going to say his name? Is Errol going to say his name? And when he did, all the Crawford fans was highly shocked of it. They thought he wasn't going to say his name. Then you had Bomac out here talking trash. Then you had Terence Crawford talking trash. Then you had Bomac says, I can't wait for it to knock this dude out. Then Errol Spence Jr. got on him after putting up Bomac's box wreck and stuff. You guys know the whole debacle of the whole situation. And, you know, this fight at a point is getting so big that these two are going to have to fight. I know this fight's going to happen. A lot of people was expecting this fight to happen around September of this year, and a lot of people fought around September on the 15th and 16th. We know that Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns, the first fight for Undisputed at that time, it was for 2 belts. They fought on September of 1981. And we know that Oscar De La Hoya versus Filo Tito Trinidad, I'm sorry if I pronounced his whole name wrong, but they fought on September in the, believe, the early 90s or 2000s. So that was a pretty huge fight because it was at that time Puerto Rico versus Mexico was a big deal. And they was going to try to do the same thing with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, but somehow they didn't want to take the date of Canelo Alvarez, whatever the case may be, because they didn't want to try to compete. So a lot of people are expecting this fight to happen in October. I'm just ready for this fight to happen. Like I said before, I got Team Man down all day. I think Errol Spence Jr. is the exceptional fighter. I think Errol Spence Jr. beats Terence Crawford. If you guys go back to my other recent videos, matter of fact, I might make a new video when this fight does get confirmed, and when this is my final prediction. You guys might want to stay tuned in for this, because I'm really going to break it down to specific details on why I think Errol Spence Jr. beats Terence Crawford. Like I said before, I gave Terence Crawford his props. I think Terence Crawford's exceptional fighters. I think he has all the intangibles in the world to be any top tier fighter because of his skill set. That's why he's #1 pound for pound. But that #1 pound for pound is going to be on the line, because you're rivaling with the second best guy on the pound for pound list, which they totally disrespect Errol Spence Jr. and put Monster Inoue, which a damn guy in a lower weight classes nobody gives a damn about. Monster Inoue should be #9 on the list. He's not a big deal. He's not no damn American star. It makes no sense how their damn pound for pound list favor all these damn foreign fighters. No slight to them. I like Alexander Usyk, but we don't care about them guys. We only care about our American fighters that wants to compete for the big prize, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, Errol Spence Jr., you know, put on a post of Mike Tyson on his social media, and when Mike Tyson was, I believe, when Mike Tyson was trying to fight Bob Sapp at that time, and Mike Tyson said sign the contract, big boy, whatever the case may be. So Errol Spence Jr. is still relentlessly calling out Terence Crawford, and Errol Spence Jr. ain't ducking no smoke. Errol Spence Jr. is ready. He is ready. He's been training ever since the Danis Ugas fight. He has been back in the lab. He has been training his butt off. He's been putting in that work, and Terence Crawford been putting in that work as well. But Terence Crawford is kind of iffy on negotiations, and a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of reporters, well, they say that Terence Crawford was pricing himself out, asking for $20 million. I do not know how true that is, but according to sources and reports, they say he was asking for $20 million. Well, first of all, Terence Crawford, you're just trying to cash out. You're not going to get $20 million. This is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, but this ain't Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, okay? You're not going to get that money because you're not a big star. Now, if you was a star, just like as Manny Pacquiao was a star, yeah, you could potentially get that money, but you're just not the star. Errol Spence Jr. is the star. He's doing the bigger numbers. He did the biggest gate in 2020 over against Gervonta Tank Davis and Canelo Alvarez. He did 350,000 with Mikey Garcia. He did 325 with Sean Porter. He did 300,000+ with Danny Garcia. Errol Spence Jr. has been doing pay-per-views back to back 300,000, and according to sources, they said he did what, 500,000 with Danis Ugas. I could be wrong. That's what I heard. He did 500,000. So Errol Spence Jr. is clearly the bigger star. Now Terence Crawford, what do you bring in the table? And these guys and these fans run around and say, oh, he brings accolades. Oh, he brings undisputed. Oh, he's a 3-division world. That don't mean nothing. I don't care what you did at 140 pounds. What do you Crawford fans do not know? He did not do nothing at 147. It doesn't matter what did you do in the previous weight class. What has he done at 147? Okay? He has been having that belt for a very long time. He didn't fight no big names at 147. The only big name he fought is really Showtime Sean Porter. And that was a Sean Porter that was out the door, and that was a B- Sean Porter. The Sean Porter that Errol Spence Jr. fought was an A- to arguably an A+ Sean Porter, okay? And Sean Porter arguably said that he wanted to retire after the Errol Spence Jr. fight. So you Crawford fans need to stop saying, oh, these accolades. Crawford's the 3-division champion. Oh, Crawford's undisputed. Who cares? Who cares? For one, what did he do at welterweight to deserve the bigger cut of the pie? Right? All this 50-50 talk, all this stuff. Now, like I said before, 60-40 is reasonable. But if Errol Spence Jr. will do whatever it takes to get this fight done, he's probably going to push it to 55-45. I think that's a damn good, generous split. Okay, you can't argue with 55-45. And also, Steven Espinoza says, is this fight the biggest fight in the sport of boxing? Yes. Are they going to get Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather money? No. So Crawford, you're not going to get $20 million. You might get maybe $10 to $8 million at most, but you're not getting $20 million, sir. I'm sorry. Okay, you just, like I said before, if you really want to expand your brand, if you really want to make a name for yourself, beat Errol Spence. That's all you have to do. You're going to get some of his fan base to come on your side, because you'll be making a statement saying, okay, look, since I beat the big fish, I'm the cash cow now. I'm bringing in the most revenue. But you're lazy on promotion. So I don't know if you're going to bring that, even if you do beat Errol Spence Jr. I don't know if you're going to be the big dog to bring that fan base. Probably not. But whatever the case may be, okay? So, Errol Spence Jr. relentlessly calling out Terence Crawford. And he already says that he already sent the contract, and we war ready. We ready for Crawford. So Crawford, what are you waiting for? Don't tell me you're scared now, Crawford. After doing all this stuff you've been doing for years in the sport of boxing, and when you get to a guy like Errol Spence Jr. who's highly skilled at what he does, don't start choking up on me now, Crawford. You better sign that contract, because if you make up excuses, oh, I'm sure going to be on your tail. And ain't none of these Crawford fans going to tell me what to do, because I'm going to be blasting you 1,000% if you don't sign that contract. I don't care if it's the money. Sign the contract, and the stuff will come to you even more if you beat Errol Spence Jr. That's all we want. We want you to sign the contract, Crawford. Don't be scared now, because if you don't sign this contract and make up an excuse and vacate that belt at 47 to go fight Jermell Charlo at 54, I'm going to roast you like there's no tomorrow. So, Bud, better sign that contract. That's all I got to say. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.